Yeah, I mean, we just try to do everything we can till the end. I mean, it's 36 points. It's still a decent gap. I think over the last few rounds we have done a very good job as a team. But of course, if we want to close that down further, we need to be ahead constantly now, and that will be, I think, a big challenge. But we'll see. I mean, I'm just excited to be here, and hopefully it will be a good weekend for us. Yeah, but in the rain, it's always very risky. It can work for you, it can work against you. Also, this season, I think in the wet, McLaren has been very, very strong to control the overheating, for example, on the intermediate tires. So it's not a given that if it rains, that suddenly we will be the ones to beat. So we just wait and see. I'm not really too stressed about it. We'll just give everything we have. If that's enough, then we'll probably close up. But if not, then not. It's quite straightforward.
How have you got the car to be where you want it to be, that you can win by 30 seconds?
Just shout at my engineer until he does something right. I don't know. It's not just that. I guess it's a combination of both. It's a combination of me trying to be a better driver and adapting better to whatever the car may give me on a weekend. And two, I mean, I push the team as much as I can possibly do, but sometimes something you might want, you might not get for 2 years. Sometimes something you might want, you might be able to kind of push it in that direction the next time out. So it's complicated. There is not an easy answer to results. I think it's a timely process, but I guess work hard on myself and work hard with my team to figure out how to be better.
I mean, people can think what they want to think, right? But for me, I know that I've still got what it takes to win the championship. And yeah, there's been some bumps along the road, but there's been bumps along the road for everyone this year at different points. So I'm confident that I've learned a lot of helpful things from the last couple of weekends in particular. And I'm confident as well that I can still perform at some of the heights of the success we've had this year. So still a lot of laps to go this year, and I'm very confident I can still win.
Is there something you could have maybe addressed a little bit earlier, which is becoming clearer now? Is that how it is?
I don't really think so. I mean, I think Austin and Mexico have been kind of two races that have been different to a lot of others. There's been some slightly tougher weekends, but some of them were kind of execution errors on my part. Some of them were maybe not getting the most out of the car as a team. I think Austin and Mexico, there was clearly some things that were just requiring very different driving for whatever reason that is. So I think those two are similar, but I don't think any of the races before that were bad or catastrophic. I think there was some mistakes here and there, but I think learning from the last 2 weekends has been important.
Hi Lewis, lovely to see you. Obviously so many great memories for you at this track and with the people here in this country. Obviously what happened last time out in Mexico, the penalty aside, it still feels like things are clicking. Does that give you hope that you can have a positive weekend out here?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've been going from strength to strength and making positive progress. So I'm excited. I love being in Brazil. I feel very much at home here. Get the best welcome here. So looking forward to the weekend.
Coming back to Brazil feels like a home race for you. Should we expect hammer time here?
Hammer time? Yep. Not heard that word for a while. I'd like to think so. That's the goal. That's what I'm training towards. That's what I'm working towards. So I'm hoping this weekend can be another step from what we've been working on in the past races. And so and I think hopefully with the support of Brazil, hopefully I can do a good job for them this weekend.
This week, Zak Brown said he would still rather have a situation like that for McLaren where they don't favour one driver and maybe they end up losing the championship to someone else. Do you appreciate that way of racing? Is it the right way to go racing, or do you think in their shoes they ought to maybe favour Piastri or Norris one over the other when Verstappen's there?
I mean, look, everyone's got their own viewpoint on it. I mean, I've had the experience of being in the team where you had two drivers fighting for a championship, and we went all the way to the last race, and ultimately we lost it to both of us lost it. So I don't think any of the fans really particularly care massively about a constructors championship. That's more like the team cares about those sorts of things, and then we care as drivers about that for the team. But people care about the drivers championship. So, but I mean, choosing a driver is very difficult, I would say. Fortunately, I'm not team manager, so I don't have to worry about those decisions.
You had some great moments in your career here in Brazil, your first championship back in 2021, that historical win, and then the gesture that you remember, the Ayrton Senna's gesture with the Brazilian flag. Last year you drove Ayrton Senna's car, you are an honorable citizen of Brazil, and you had so much other moments that were important to you here.
Yeah.
Do you think this country, Brazil, is the most special for you throughout your F1 career, and how anxious are you to race here again?
Yeah, 100% it's the most special place I feel like I get to race in the year. I think it's, of course, when I'm in the British Grand Prix is incredible, and I'm forever grateful for the amazing support that I have from my home people. But to be welcomed in another country where, if anything, I feel more at home because how diverse it is, and I always get asked if I'm Brazilian. Even before I got my citizenship, they're like, people would say I could pass for Brazilian. So, but I think it's the passion. I think it's the culture. It's very beautiful here, and the people are so lovely. And then this is the home of Ayrton Senna, so it's kind of like, you know, it's a place I think I would love to like spend some years here in the future. Whether or not that happens, maybe somewhere in like Rio or something like that.
Hi Kimi, good to see you here in Brazil. I mean, such a historic track. How are you looking forward to getting out there, driving around it, and what are you kind of hoping for from this weekend?
Yeah, really looking forward. It looks a very fun track to drive. So, obviously it's going to be a special weekend as well. And really looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can get up to speed very quickly. Obviously, sprint weekend, and we can, get a good result, which is important as well for the team and for the constructor.
And I mean, you say getting up to speed quickly with the sprint format. Obviously, the weather's been talked a lot about this weekend, and obviously we will remember what happened last year as well. In terms of your own preparation, how important is it for you to kind of build up into it, even though you've got that pressure of getting straight into it?
Yeah, for sure. It's not easy. It's about finding the right balance. Of course, the weather can be very unpredictable. We saw it last year as well. So I think it's going to be important, to get up to speed quickly, but still trying to make as much learning as possible, because obviously we don't know the weather, how it's going to be, and we got to be ready for any conditions.
You seem back on more confident and better form at the moment. You had a little difficult spell. Is it almost better to have been able to come through a difficult spell, because you know that if one comes up in the future, you'll have the ability to deal with it?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's this year has been a massive learning so far. I think also being straight in a top team, dealing with extra pressure, and as well having to go through a really difficult period really shaped me, not only as a driver but also as a person. I think is a massive learning, and I'm really happy that I've done it already, because if hopefully it doesn't happen the same, but in the future I will be much more ready to this kind of situation, and definitely I will be able to deal with it much better. So I think it's been, despite I've not enjoyed the difficult period, not gonna lie, I'm happy that I'm coming out of it, and obviously it's very satisfying, but we still have 4 races to prove ourselves, and to really show what we're capable of.
Ciao Andrea, as a driver I would like to understand where are the difference on the track with George, very experienced driver and fast, where you miss this speed or this time?
I think, I think in terms of raw speed, George is very quick, but I think we're very close. He's able to put things together, especially when it matters. Of course, with experience, it helps, but also you see he's a bit more relaxed while driving the car. He's a bit more in control of the situation, and I think that is what making the difference. I think, in some occasion, I can be faster than him, but he's just able to really put the things together, and that has been the main difference at the moment. But it's been good to be alongside him so far, and I've learned a lot from him.
Hi George, good to see you here in Brazil. Obviously it's quite a fight in terms of P2 in the team standings right now.
Yeah.
How much motivation does that serve, and how much are you hoping to gain this weekend in that fight?
Yeah, it's very close between the three of us, to be honest. Red Bull are just behind us, we're just behind Ferrari. We're just taking it race by race. It's too close to go into a race weekend with expectations, because the last few races it's been split by a tenth and a half. Can be the difference between P2 on the grid or P6, P7, and that's the difference between a podium or not. So, let's see.
Thanks, George.
I mean, yeah, with these final races underway, are you feeling you can fight on almost equal terms with the championship contenders? And I think I know the answer to this. Do you race any differently as we get really close to that title being decided with them?
Well, I'd like to think we've got an opportunity or two between now and the end of the season to get a win under our belt. I think Vegas is obviously a race that we'd probably pinpoint as being a race where we'll be competitive. And then I still race everybody the same. There's no reason to race anybody differently. Probably going into Abu Dhabi, to be fair, if there is a title on the line, if you're not going for the win, you may think twice about something. But until then, it's every man for himself.
Hi, George. How does it feel to be back here where you won your first race? And should we expect a surprise moment from George Russell this weekend?
I always love coming back to Brazil. It's just a country and a circuit I've always loved coming to, and there's so many fans with such passion here. And of course, winning my first race, it will always hold a special place in my heart.
Thank you.
George, last week was an adrenaline filled.
Yeah.
On the radio, a little bit testy. Have you analyzed with your team, with the other garage, what happened and how to avoid maybe some misunderstandings in moving forward?
Well, I think it was just slightly unfortunate how the race unfolded. I was obviously very angry after lap one, because I didn't think what happened was fair at all for a number of drivers, especially Lewis being one. I thought it was extremely unfair what happened in terms of his race, but then that had a knock-on effect to me, and then I was in a position I shouldn't have been in the first place. So of course we analyse every single race, and you conclude after many races you could have done things better and differently. When you're in that moment, the adrenaline from my side, the adrenaline for the team, you're trying to be fair to both drivers. It's never straightforward to make a decision in the moment. It's always easy to say we should have done this. So the truth is, I just need to make sure I don't find myself in a position where that needs to be a worry.
Hi Yuki, good to see you here. I think you were speaking after Mexico, you were saying you kind of threw points away at the end of that race, but bearing that in mind and going into this weekend, does it at least give you hope that you're in that ballpark? And of course you qualified third here, if I'm not mistaken, last year as well. Does it give you hope going into this weekend?
Yeah, it's getting there, the confidence, everything from this car. Previous race in Mexico, definitely I would have been the points if everything went smooth, but it's part of the motorsports and the racing and can happen. So I'm just happy that how the race week went through. So just trying to keep this trend and even more in this race, especially sprint qualifying races. I try my best to score points both races, and like you said, I had good memory last year, especially in a wet condition. Let's see how it goes this weekend, but pretty good confidence.
Thanks, Yuki.
Hello, Yuki. 4 races left. You have to try to secure your seat for the future, but also to try to help Max for the championship. Is a kind of double challenge for you?
Not really. I mean, I'm just trying to only thinking about maximize the performance, and I think that will come naturally in both ways. Like if I'm able to maximize performance, naturally I'll be in a higher, grade, starting grade. in the qualifying close to Max, and that will naturally able to help Max in the strategy in the race. Also, you can say that also in my career as well. So what I have to focus in my performance, extracting in every sessions and help the team as well to give some good feedback, to make some good progress for the setup throughout the weekend. So yeah, I only focus on that.
Thank you.
Juki, what could you say has been your biggest challenge adapting to the Red Bull car after so many years with the B Carb team?
Step in the middle of the season and jump into the complete new car. I think that's the natural challenge, I guess, and that's part of it. And I think that's it, And other than that, driving next to the world champion, especially is the best driver in the grid, and all the pressure what I'm having is always a little bit different to what I used to have, but something that I enjoy right now and able to learn a lot of things from him. So yeah, it's good.
Fernando, good to see you. An unfortunate end to your race last time out in Mexico, but how confident are you of being back in the mix here this weekend? A lot of points finishes around that one, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, optimistic always on Thursdays. I prefer to be positive. On the weekend, Brazil has been always good track, for overtaking and providing a good show and, offering opportunities for the midfield teams and things like that. So we know that it's a sprint weekend, which normally we can take advantage as well, we will give it all.
Do you enjoy that challenge of the sprint and hitting the ground running in that first practice session, of course?
Absolutely. There is only one chance to set up the car, and then you go straight into quali. This weekend, maybe on top of that, we have mixed conditions, so eventually you will just be on qualifying for the very first time on a wet track or a dry track and things like that. So yeah, I've been racing here for so many years. Hopefully that helps a little bit.
10 or 12 pounds more, you would have been 4-time world champion. That's crazy. Is it not a little bit frustrating when you think about that?
I think it's 5 points more. I will have 3 championships more. This is part of the sport. This is the beauty of the sport, and I'm happy with 2 championships. I never thought to be 2 times world champion, so I take that and I fulfill my dream, and I still have the respect, I think, for many people here in the paddock and in the sport. So I feel that, and I keep pushing for another one.
So we wait for the next one. Okay.
Fernando, this year the midfield is incredibly tight. We've seen a lot of teams, last week it was Haas, that have their day in the sun. Is Aston Martin, are you due a day in the sun or maybe in the rain?
I will love to have one of those weekends. As you said, always one midfield seems outstandingly good, and maybe we had that weekend in Budapest, to be honest, that we scored many points, and we would like to have another one of those in the remaining races, and Sao Paulo may be an opportunity for sure with the sprint format.
Hello, Fernando. So you won your first title here in Brazil, the second one here in Brazil too. So every time you come to Brazil, remember that time, what the best memories that come to your mind?
Definitely a very special place for me in my career, the 2 championships here. Always very good circuit in terms of results. I think 9 podiums here in Interlagos. So happy place for me, and the fans as well. Incredible. They had great champions here in Brazil, always, with obviously Ayrton, but not only Ayrton, Nelson, Emerson. A great history for the sport here. So it's a special weekend.
Zak Brown said, if we have the 2 drivers and Max comes in and wins it, then we're fine with that. It seems like they haven't learned maybe from 2007. I know it was a different time then, but is this what happens when you have 2 equal drivers going for a championship?
Yeah, there is always the risk, but I don't think the scenario is exactly the same. In 2007, I remember Ron in China saying that we were racing against Fernando. Our race was with Fernando, not with Kimi. So imagine that Zak says now our race was with Oscar, not with Max. So very different scenario.
Formula One returns to Interlagos this weekend for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And the grid is filled with confidence, excitement, and big ambitions. McLaren's Oscar Piastri says he still has what it takes to win the World Championship, keeping his title hopes alive. His teammate Lando Norris, who's been closing the gap in recent races, explains his strong form as a combination of different things. Max Verstappen is aiming to regain control of the title fight, saying Red Bull will do everything we can to build a decent gap. At Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton remains upbeat, calling Interlagos 100% the most special place I race at in the year. Meanwhile, rookie Kimi Antonelli, making his F1 debut, says he's ready for anything. We've got to be prepared for all conditions. George Russell, winner of 2 Grand Prix so far this season, is feeling confident too, saying he believes Mercedes can get another win under our belts before the season ends. Yuki Tsunoda insists he's focused on maximizing performance rather than helping Verstappen's title defense, while Fernando Alonso believes Aston Martin can take advantage of the sprint weekend opportunities.